From the series, Introduction to Medical Device Regulation, the importance of quality management systems in the medical device industry in the European Union, responsibilities and obligations. Welcome to this web-based training. Here we will introduce the importance of quality management systems for medical devices in the EU and how this interfaces with other regulatory requirements. Regulation EU 2017-745 of the European Parliament and of the Council of 5 April 2017, otherwise known as the Medical Device Regulation, or MDR, outlines the need for the manufacturer to implement a quality management system, and in various sections outlines the scope of what the quality management system is required to have to be compliant. Annex 9 of the MDR, Conformity Assessment based on a quality management system and on assessment of technical documentation, states, "The manufacturer shall establish, document, and implement a quality management system as described in Article 10.9 and maintain its effectiveness throughout the life cycle of the devices concerned. The manufacturer shall ensure the application of the quality management system as specified in Section 2 and shall be subject to audit as laid down in Sections 2.3 and 2.4 and to surveillance as specified in Section 3. Before we start unpacking what exactly this means that manufacturers need to implement to be compliant, we will give a brief overview of what a quality management system actually is. As the name implies, a quality management system is a management system regarding quality, which involves all aspects of the entire organization. Therefore, the quality management system does not only focus on the quality of the product itself, but touches more on the process of organization management and production, as well as the nodes within the process, which are the employees. For an organization, a quality management system is the core of its business. It helps define and align with an organization's customer and regulatory requirements to achieve a constant quality product or service. As a formalized system, the quality management system documents all processes, responsibilities, and procedures in the organization. By implementing the work and process requirements described in the quality management system, the quality objectives can be achieved. As the executors of the process, all employees should work according to the process described in this formalized system. However, the description and requirements of a quality management system are on a more abstract level, which results in organizations of different sizes, structures, purposes, and so on having different implementations of quality management systems. Another important thing to note is that quality management systems should not be static. A comprehensive quality management system should be treated as a living requirements library with built-in feedback from monitoring and measurements from established KPIs to ensure continuous improvement of effectiveness of the quality management system. In general, a compliant quality management system is not only important to help gaining market access for the product and meeting the requirements of the MDR, but it is also a gold standard of quality focus within the company. Having a compliant quality management system shows stakeholders and customers that quality is at the core of everything you do, and that you can achieve consistency in your outputs while improving the quality continuously within the organization. As a startup, the importance of having a focus on a comprehensive quality management system from the beginning is sometimes missed, as the main drive is the development of the product. Having the idea of a compliant quality management system in mind and being knowledgeable about the mandatory requirements from the start will eliminate the hassle and timely implementation of a quality management system retrospectively when you are trying to gain market access. Now that we know what is meant by a quality management system, we can start unpacking the requirements as set out by the MDR and also look at this against the international standard ISO 13485. Although, as stated in the previous slide, there are no one-size-fits-all specifications for the implementation of a quality management system, the MDR clearly sets out some basic requirements that need to be met in order for QMS to comply with the MDR. These specifications are set out in Article 10.9. All of these specifications are also requirements necessary to be in compliance with ISO 13485 medical devices, quality management systems, requirements for regulatory purposes. This international standard represents the requirements for a comprehensive quality management system for the design and manufacture of medical devices. By comparing ISO 13485 and the MDR, we can see that compliance and certification with ISO 13485 easily shows that you are also compliant with the MDR. ISO 13485 outlines the requirements mainly in sections 4 to 8. Quality management system, management responsibility, resource management, product realization, and measurement, analysis, and improvement. Paragraph 2 of Article 10.9 in the MDR defines the required scope of the QMS per the MDR. The requirements which are outlined here align with what is stated in ISO 13485. The MDR makes a point of stating that the manufacturer's QMS must ensure that devices in production remain in conformity. Changes, whether they be changes to the design or changes to the harmonized standards, must be addressed in a timely manner. This is already addressed in a similar section of ISO 13485, Section 739, Control of Design and Development Changes. The organization shall document procedures to control design and development changes. The organization shall determine the significance of the change to function, performance, usability, safety, and applicable regulatory requirements for the medical device and its intended use. As already discussed, the quality management system is not a static compendium of processes. It should be a living resource focused on the principle of continual improvement built on alignment with the manufacturer's quality policy, customer satisfaction, and internal efficiency. So, why have we just spent so much time looking at the interface between the MDR and ISO 13485? Although ISO 13485 certification of a QMS is not expressly required by the MDR, meeting these requirements is a big tick in the box towards gaining market access. In short, having an ISO 13485 certified quality management system is the gold standard for meeting the requirements of quality management systems in the medical device industry, and not just in Europe, but globally. We will now look at the mandatory requirements your quality management system will need, as set out by ISO 13485. The core components of ISO 13485 are presented in chapters 4 to 8. We will briefly look at an overview of the requirements for each of these chapters. Chapter 4 details the general requirements for a medical device manufacturer quality management system. One of the core mandatory requirements here is the quality manual, which forms the basis of the entire quality management system. The general requirements also outline what is needed for the control of documents and records, from the creation and updating of documents through to the storage of records. Chapter 5 outlines management responsibility for the quality management system. This includes requirements of management involvement at the level of those who make policy and financial decisions and establishes the quality policy and objectives. It clearly states that the support and oversight of the quality management system, including appropriate resourcing and company awareness of the importance of quality, is the responsibility of upper management. Chapter 6 defines the requirements of resource management. Management must provide appropriate facilities to carry out required work, i.e., tools and equipment, computer systems, building facilities, for example, clean rooms where necessary. Maintenance of these facilities to adequate standards must also be adhered to ensure all products are able to be manufactured to their specified requirements, and records of this work documented. Chapter 7 covers product realization, which is everything necessary from planning, design, manufacture, through to implementation and ongoing support of a product. This section is the most lengthy and will most likely affect the daily tasks of the company more than any other section. Everything that is part of the product design and development, including controls and risk management, needs to be outlined. Chapter 8 covers measurement, analysis, and improvement. This section outlines the requirements for gathering and collating feedback and other information to work towards the continuous improvement and effectiveness of the quality management system and all its functions. These feedback topics include customer complaints and adverse events, internal audits, monitoring and measurement of processes, monitoring and measurement of products, including nonconformities, corrective and preventive actions, CAPA, and data analysis. So, as you can see, the requirements are quite extensive. The MDR also states that surveillance and conformity assessments are mandatory requirements. These are carried out by notified bodies, with many auditing to ISO 13485 requirements and in line with the regulatory requirements of audit frequency. A quick note on quality management system certification in line with ISO 13485. To gain ISO 13485 certification, you need to pass an audit performed by a notified body. Before undertaking such an audit, all processes within a quality management system must have passed an internal audit previously. In an audit, a notified body will assess a manufacturer's quality management system. If this meets the requirements of ISO 13485, a certificate is then issued to the manufacturer by the notified body. This certification is the evidence the manufacturer can show to say that they adhere to the quality standards in line with ISO 13485 and therefore the MDR. After the initial audit, the notified body will carry out yearly surveillance audits to monitor the manufacturer's quality management system. Every 3 years, the certificate for the quality management system will expire, and the manufacturer will need to be recertified by the notified body undertaking the recertification audit. These surveillance and recertification audits are to ensure that the quality management system does not deviate from the requirements in ISO 13485, particularly if there have been major updates, and can therefore retain the certification. The quality management system covers the whole product development lifecycle. Because of this, within the wide framework of the quality management system, some parts that are defined in the quality management system only abstractly need to be specified separately in detail. Therefore, besides the standard ISO 13485, the quality management system also has interfaces with other ISO standards, such as post-market surveillance and risk management. The MDR makes very clear that a risk-based approach should be applied when implementing a quality management system. ISO 13485 also states that a risk-based approach should be applied. Neither ISO 13485 nor the MDR entirely elaborate on what is meant by a risk-based approach or specific requirements that need to be met by the manufacturer. But we should consider both regulatory risks and risks as defined by one of the international standards that interfaces with the quality management system, ISO 14971, medical devices, application of risk management to medical devices, when applying this. ISO 14971 is defined as the systematic application of management policies, procedures, and practices to the tasks of analyzing, evaluating, controlling, and monitoring risk. A risk-based approach is required for outsourced processes, verification of training effectiveness, supplier criteria, and verification of the purchased product. In addition, manufacturers must employ a risk-based approach to computer software used in the quality management system for production or service and for measuring and monitoring. We can use a basic framework for risk analysis, identifying the risks associated with each process, possible mitigation measures for the identified risks, establish risk severity levels for each risk, and justification by adaptation of measures. The MDR outlines requirements for medical device manufacturers to have a quality management system harmonized with the international standard ISO 13485 medical devices, quality management systems, requirements for regulatory purposes. While the focus of startups is often on research and development, real thought needs to be given from the beginning on quality management system implementation to avoid time delays in gaining market access by retrospectively having to implement a quality management system. The quality management system interfaces with every aspect of medical device development, as it shows how quality is implicit in every stage of product lifecycle development, and also how this feeds back into continuous improvement. Gaining ISO 13485 certification will meet the requirements for quality management systems in the MDR, and shows stakeholders that quality is a core value for the organization. This is a key criteria for gaining market access, not just in Europe, but globally. We would like to thank you for your attention and to acknowledge the continuing support of EIT Health and the FAU Innovation Fund. More information on the certificate course, Medical Device Regulation, offered by the Friedrich Alexander University Erlangen-Nuremberg, can be found on the homepage of the Central Institute of Medical Engineering at www.zimt.fau.eu.